Hi folks, well welcome back to another year of Parliamentary Paradise. Can I just start by acknowledging those 10 who are lost and missing, their families who have been through an excruciating time in recent days. I can only hope that they will get some closure and that our whole country will learn valuable lessons that is able to help us avoid such incidents in the future.
You're happy with the support package the government's just announced?
Yeah, absolutely. We discussed that in Cabinet today. I think it's absolutely the right thing to do to support those who have supported others and to be prepared to look into what's happened and get to the bottom of why this went wrong without a blame game, actually useful facts that will help prevent similar tragedies in the future.
On that, the Prime Minister just announced that he was going to get Chris Pink to give us some advice as to whether there should be a government inquiry into this. Is that quite a clear-cut answer that there should be?
Well, Chris Pink's now got that responsibility. I rate Chris Pink. There's been a serious loss of life in horrific circumstances and some uncertainty about how it's occurred. That would point to an inquiry, but it's up to Chris Pink to make that final decision.
Are you inclined one way or the other on that question of whether a separate inquiry needs to take place?
Well, what I'm clear about is that the facts need to be understood. There's been far too much misinformation, people trying to politicise from all angles. The actual facts need to be established so people can have trust in what's happened, and then we need to learn. So if there's anything we can take out of this that'll stop it happening again, we need to know it, but I'm not going to decide should it be a ministerial inquiry or something like that.
You're not leaning one way or the other on that?
So long, you know what, it doesn't matter if a cat is black or white so long as it catches mice, and I'm sure Chris Pink will come up with a good solution for finding those critically important answers.
After Cyclone Gabriel, I think I'm right, you were in favour of climate change funding going more to adaptation rather than mitigation, I think that's right. Is that something you are pushing more for now in light of what has happened over the last week?
Well, yes, but I'd also just note that the government's spent around $1 billion in climate change adaptation since it's been in power. We've also done a lot of deregulation in order that it's easier to raise roads, to build drainage, to ensure that these things are less likely to happen. So are we there yet? Clearly not remotely close, but the government has done a major pivot away from really quite futile efforts to reduce global emissions towards practical improvements to what is on the ground in New Zealand. Look, even in Auckland, the council is now spending $20 million on clearing the drains. That could have saved a lot of people's houses 2 years ago.
Is anyone politicising the event?
Look, I'm not going to further politicise it by pointing out who I think is politicising it, but I think it should be pretty clear that there are people who have really, I think, tried to make this about blaming other people, and the truth is there are still a whole lot of people that need to be recovered, and our thoughts should be with them.
Are you referring to other political parties or other individuals?
Again, I'm not going to. I've made the comment you shouldn't politicise it. I'm not going to politicise it myself.
Do you think New Zealand should say yes to being on Trump's board of peace?
Look, I think that's a matter for the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We've always played an honourable role in international affairs, but an exact assessment of what's on the table right now, and it can change very frequently, I'll leave to my colleagues.
The government's being asked to rule that out. Do you not think that's something the government should do?
No, once again, it's very easy to sit over on the opposition benches and speculate what Chris Hipkins thinks he knows, but I'm interested in what the facts are, and I would rather have a government process that deals in facts rather than political posturing, which is something that Chris Hipkins has been pretty good at lately.
Are you expecting any retirements from the ACT caucus ahead of the election?
No, not at all. We're raw and ready to go, and we've seen a lot of energy pent up in the ACT caucus. I think probably my main challenge will be containing it all.
You're keen to run, all of your MPs are all keen to run in the next election?
Yeah, absolutely. Our MPs are keen to be re-elected in bigger numbers with more influence, because we believe the values of the ACT Party, that each person, no matter your background, has a right and a responsibility to make the most of their time on earth. That's what our country needs.
Do you agree with the Prime Minister that Donald Trump's comments regarding troops in Afghanistan were incredibly disrespectful?
Well, I don't know if he said exactly that, but I'm very proud of what our defence personnel do, both in New Zealand and in theatres such as Afghanistan. One of ex-MPs had a sibling who was over there serving, and they certainly didn't take a backward step. So I think to suggest that New Zealand's troops are somehow inadequate, I can't believe that's what President Trump meant. All right, thank you, folks.